But hey, everybody, welcome to a live recording of Guide to the Unknown. I'm Will.
And I am his big sister, Kristen.
Yeah, and we are in the pre-show. We're only just getting started. We're not even doing the real show yet.
No, we're barely even there.
We're just chilling. So cut us some slack.
Yeah, give us a break.
Yeah. What's up, JD?
Hey, JD.
How's it going? I'm really pumped about my half of the show tonight.
I think you should start
You
so
had
we go
the-
like chronologically.
Okay, that sounds
You know what I
good.
mean?
Yeah. You had the exact right idea. There was so much to say
I
about the
know.
bad seed.
I don't know it, but I know that the bad seed is a whole thing.
It's a whole thing. There's not as
Yeah.
much like behind the scenes. It's not like Poltergeist with behind the scenes type stuff. There's just a lot to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew you'd have a lot to say about it, and I thought that there was some stuff behind the scenes. Yeah.
Honestly,
Because it's like a whole lot of movie. I haven't seen it in a really, really, really long time, but it's not a movie you just go, yeah, it's a movie.
no, not at all.
You know?
It's so funny. We started out doing shows that were like Boogeyman and Banshees. And then we simplified.
Yeah.
We could just do a show on Boogeyman. Maybe
Right.
we'll revisit Boogeyman someday and do a full show. But weirdly, I feel like somewhat recently we have started loading shows, which I think is natural to a certain extent. But you're so right. We had planned like 5 different things to talk about for today.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So yeah, I looked at the list and I was like, "There's no fucking
No.
excuse me. There's no way." Like,
Yeah.
I was gonna cover The Good Son, the TV show Damien, and the Children of the Corn series. What
Yeah,
are
I
you
know.
nuts?
It's ridiculous. There
Yeah.
are like 50 Children of the Corn movies.
No, I do still want to do Children of the Corn though.
And they all deserve
Their time.
their day in the sun.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Their day
He
in the
who
corn.
walks- He who walks between the rows.
Why did I bring that up recently? Where did I say it? Oh, I know
remember.
why.
We were
Because the
outside.
front yard of my house is all weedy.
Oh yeah. That's right.
It looks like Children of the
That was
Corn.
really funny.
Looks like we're trying to summon he who walks among the rows.
It's so good. Hi everybody.
Hey, everybody. Hey,
Yay.
Brittany, Miko, Rachel, Nibs, Andrea, Sarah.
Awesome.
Hello.
Hello.
Rachel says, I introduced you guys to my fiance when we had a 6-hour drive. Didn't listen to music the whole time, just the podcast. That's awesome.
Yeah,
That is
that's
so
cool.
Yeah, trial by fire. You probably turned it on and then ripped all the knobs off the center console. You ain't changing this.
Right, we're in it now.
This is what we're doing. There's not even a destination.
No, we're just driving.
We're just driving.
Sometimes you just need to drive.
We're just in the car. Hey, Joanna. Hey, Kit Kat. CBFR. Oh, my goodness.
Evening.
Oh, my goodness.
And yet, this graphic thing is new. This is the first time ever using it. William made it today.
Yeah,
Isn't
it's
it cool?
fun. Yeah, I thought that it might be worthwhile because usually the show starts and it's us looking at our phones going like, all right, are we live? I don't know if we're live yet.
Yeah, just to be clear, it hasn't really started yet.
There are other things that I've been trying to do, and if you're in the groups and stuff, you may have seen me sort of hint at clips and stuff like that. But I had a few minutes to spare today, and I figured, let's get this thing done.
Yeah,
so now we're
totally.
going to have an official pre-show segment, an official post-show. And now in the future, if you're ever looking at our videos from here on, you'll know,
Yeah.
are we in
If we're in the thick of
an
it yet.
unofficial sort of segment? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like there was something else I was going to say. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my
Oh my goodness.
Oh, somebody tweeted at us, Kristen. Last night, I want to say, somebody was like, that feeling when you know the final Jeopardy because they covered it on Guide to the Unknown. Did you see that tweet?
No!
You didn't see that? Let me pull it up because it was pretty rad.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It must have gone through, it probably went straight to Guide to the Unknown, so let me swap over to that account. But I looked it up, so I can even tell you what the... Oh, this is funny. Kit Kat, I see what you were saying. Kit Kat messaged us 4 minutes ago, where are you? You're late to the podcast this week. That's awesome.
Sorry.
We're here now. Yeah, Cat W tweeted at us last night, nothing like getting tonight's final Jeopardy because Guide to the Unknown covered the subject. So I looked it up, and the final Jeopardy for June 1st, 2021 was an explorer believed that this island was part of an ancient place known as Lemuria.
Oh.
And the answer was Madagascar. You covered that
yes.
on the show.
Yes, that's right.
So we're smarties.
We're
Well,
well.
Whereas really you.
Also, I don't know if I'm that smart. In that episode in particular, I could not say that friggin' word because it's spelled Lemurian.
Right.
But people pronounce it Lumerian.
Right.
And it was messing with my head.
Yeah.
And I kept going, lip, lip, lip. So
Lip, lip.
I could not, in that episode, I was so annoyed because I think it's such a cool episode
It's where the
or
lemurs
topic.
live.
But I could not say that friggin' word. I don't know why everybody pronounces it
Yeah.
the opposite of the way it's spelled.
Have you seen people doing this? People using a Disney character
No.
filter on the cast of Scream. It's from John Jolie. Who's this? John Jolion's reviews on Instagram. Just posted this. It's all Disney-fied
That's
versions of Scream characters. People are making
The
like
Sarah Michelle Gellar one's really good.
I know some of them. Look at Mickey, and he's got like
Oh my God,
blood on
looks
his
so
head,
young.
and he still somehow looks like a Disney
Yeah.
boy. Surreal.
Oh man, Brittany, sorry we were late. Sorry to scare you, but I'm glad you're here. That's awesome that you were able to make it. And CBFR said that Zoe is the cutest in her GDTU host cap, and Allie looks great. What a nice family pick about something that we put on all the social media of when Will and Allie went to Feltville and Zoe this weekend.
I did not. I went back and listened to our old episode because I didn't remember Feltville being part of that story.
Yeah.
But it was about 13 Bumps Road where you can supposedly drive over the bodies of witches that were buried, and no matter how many times you pave over it, the bumps always come back.
Yeah.
I didn't remember Feltville. We covered that was 4 years ago. I don't know.
I guess it was 4 years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah,
almost
just
4
about.
years ago.
Yeah.
But
It was
so
the 4th episode ever.
I have now gone to the deserted village of Feltville.
Was it cool?
Yeah, it was really neat.
Nice.
It was fun. It felt oh, you know what? As we got there, I saw a bunch of people walking around with a boom. A boom
Oh, I
mic.
saw you like tweet about that or something.
Yeah, because I posted some pictures at the Myth Traveler. I'm trying to get better at social media. So I saw people walking around with a boom mic, and I shamelessly walked up to them and was like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
What's going on here? They were making a horror movie.
That's awesome.
They're making a horror movie in
Yeah.
Feltville. So this is Quality Production Studio at QPS Films.
That's awesome.
Super cool. They're making a movie about Malachi, it's called. And
From Children of the Corn.
oh my god, yes, I guess so.
He who walks among the
Oh
rows.
my god, you're right. But no, they were just walking around making a horror movie. And hey,
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah,
That rules.
it was super cool. They told me they were making a horror movie, and I was like,
I do horror.
I like scary stuff.
Yeah.
So anyway, go check them out.
Brittany asked if you drove over the bumps. Did you notice any?
No, because I
Yeah,
didn't even know
it
that
wasn't
that
paying
was
it-
the
yeah,
area.
yeah.
If I had known, I was sort of kicking myself once I listened back to our show.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wish that I had thought to do that.
What an idiot.
Maybe we'll have to go out and do a Guide to the Unknown
love to.
Mythbusters.
Yeah, sure. I would love to.
All right, what do you think?
Where's the fan that's down here? Let's get ahead of it. I'm already hot. Are you?
Yeah,
That's why I'm putting my hair.
of course I am. I think it's in the garage.
Oh, forget it. Forget
Yeah.
it. Don't you have a small fan on your desk?
Yeah, but I can't. It's not gonna be easy to point it over here. I'll just put it that way.
I mean, couldn't we put it there?
It's
No?
gonna take a while. I have
All
to
right, forget it,
disassemble a whole thing.
All right, we'll just have to remember next time.
Let's try something.
Okay.
Ready? Alexa, set a reminder for 1 week from today at 4 p.m. to set up a fan.
Okay, I'll remind you tonight at 4 p.m. By the way, when your reminder rings, you can snooze it by saying, remind me again in 15
Okay.
minutes.
She's going on and on.
Yeah.
She already said, okay.
How you do go on.
She said, I'll remind you, and then kept talking. Like, I got it.
Thanks, Alexa.
Like, that's enough.
Like, enough, please.
All right, so next week I'll get it in shape.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ready to roll?
All right, everybody. Pre-show's ending. Please consider sharing. Thank you
Fun.
so much for hanging out with us.
Yeah.
We'll chat with you again in the post-show.
Fun. I love that thing. What a good idea.
Yeah, it's fun. I just have to remember to turn it on and off.
I
That's
know.
it. Yeah.
That's awesome. Not this second, but I just don't want to forget. Maybe it would be good to have something on the screen during the show that says our info, like it was in that pre-show thing that says like at GTTU pod.
That's the dream. The dream
Okay.
is that I could now hit a button and the Guide to the Unknown theme would start.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which
That's
I
cool.
actually do.
But I even
have.
just mean a banner. You know
Oh,
what I
I know.
mean? That okay, yeah.
Here, watch this. You won't be able to hear this.
Okay. Oh yeah. This I know.
Yeah, try it when it ends. But you can see it.
Oh, but it ends. The song ends.
The
when
song ends.
Okay.
Well, the song doesn't end. It clips to
Well,
us.
yeah. Okay.
Whatever. I'm loaded with tricks.
Yeah.
I never lose. What's this? Oh, that didn't work at all. What's this?
Darkness descends.
Thank you for saying I look dewy and glowing. CBFR.
Darkness descends.
Only get increasing.
As
Whoa.
time turns a corner,
Whoa.
you find yourself in a strange place
like
you've never
time
been
sticks?
before.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You're
I got that. And I got this.
Yeah. Ugh, these are so cool.
I
We should
got all-
really use more of this stuff.
I agree.
It's very cool.
It's just hard to.
I know. No, I
You
know.
have to be a multitasker.
I know.
It's tricky. We'll try it. I'll get better at it.
Well, is there any way I can help so it's not all just on you?
No, I don't want you even touching my stuff. No.
Okay.
I genuinely, I'm not. I don't really think so.
Okay.
We could each have a mouse that's hooked up, but then
It'd
we'd
be,
be
like, silly.
dueling. It'd
Yeah,
be
yeah,
silly.
yeah. Okay. All right. And thank you, Sarah. It's only because I have so much effing hair and I get too hot. I run very hot as a person, so that's why I shave half of my head.
We're not summer people.
No. Okay. Hello. Welcome to Guide to the Unknown. I'm Kristen.
And I'm her little brother William.
And this week we are talking about terrifying children.
Yeah.
That's right. In honor of William's new-ish fatherhood, his daughter Zoe is turning 4 months old tomorrow as we record.
Yeah.
We thought that we would cover scary murderous kids.
We talked about this for a while back. We talked
And it
about.
seemed too morbid. I think we were thinking about doing it right before you went on parental leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were going to talk about like scary kids in movies and like, ghost children and monster. And then I was like, do I really want to? Do I really want to think about horrible, awful
Do you
things?
want to bring that in?
And I was like, no. You know
Yeah.
what? She's 4 months old now.
The coast is clear. I think.
She's wonderful. I mean, knock on. Don't jinx anything.
She's an angel.
But these kids, it's all removed from reality anyway. No
For sure.
jinxing to be had here.
No.
But I'm super excited because this was something that came out of a Guide to the Unknown planning sesh. Patreon.com/GTTUpod.
Yep. Every month we go on there on the first Saturday of every month and talk about the month's shows to come. And so we planned this a month ago.
Yeah. And so we talked about covering a couple of movies in here that I was tangentially aware of. But now I've watched one of them for this show.
You had never seen The Bad Seed?
I had definitely seen enough of it to know
The deal.
what it was. I think I saw this when I was a kid.
Yeah, I did too.
And not only that, I think that I've seen the many places that the movie The Bad Seed has been parodied.
Yeah.
So I was aware of its reputation and what the story was. But not as an adult had I sat down and watched this with an adult mindset or a film fan mindset.
Or a father's mindset.
Father's mindset. And watching it now, I love it when this happens. Sometimes this show makes me research something that suddenly gets ratcheted up to be one of my favorite things of all time. And I went from being like, oh, I'm curious to watch The Bad Seed to being like, yo, this movie's awesome and everybody should watch it.
Cool.
It is so good, so interesting, so ahead of its time. And quite frankly, I will be spoiling it. That's what we're doing here on the show. We're going to be spoiling. I'll do The Bad Seed. Then we're going to spoil The Good Son.
Yep.
With Macaulay Culkin.
And Elijah Wood.
And Elijah Wood. I apologize. Sorry, Elijah. But so we're going to spoil the hell out of these things. So be wary of that. And especially because I do say, go watch The Bad Seed. If you don't want to be spoiled, if you want to go in fresh, go. I can even tell you that it's so funny the way that the movie ends. It's based on a book that became a Broadway play that became a movie. The Broadway cast is the cast of the movie.
Oh, I didn't know
Which
that.
is very fun.
That's cool.
And it ends with a very theatrical sort of like welcoming of the cast. And Patty McCormick as Rhoda. And she steps out and does a little curtsy. They do curtain calls.
Really?
And then this pops up on the screen. You have just seen a motion picture whose theme dares to be startlingly different. May we ask that you do not divulge the unusual climax of this story. Thank you. Basically, we know this movie's out there.
Yeah.
Don't spoil it.
Right.
The movie in 1956 came with a don't spoil this, keep the secrets type message. I'm going to be doing that.
Right.
It's taken 70 years for somebody to divulge the unusual climax, but I'm going to be the person to finally do it.
It's going to be Will.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's also what they did with Psycho, by the way.
I know.
Hitchcock was one of the first people to go like, make sure you take your seats at the beginning of the picture, not
It's a
the
really
middle.
Good Hitchcock.
Because people used to just
Yeah.
wander into a theater midway through a movie and be like, I wonder what this is.
Yeah, well, there used to be those, like, you know, what do you call them? I don't remember what it's called, but the, like, serialized movies or whatever
Right.
that would play more regularly, so you could kind of pop in
Just
midway,
pop
and
in.
it's, like, not a big deal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But this movie, 1956, hey, don't spoil it, but I'm
No.
about to. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about The Bad Seed officially.
Yeah.
As I said, based on a book. And when you Google Bad Seed book, here's what you get. This is a book about a bad seed. A bad seed. Do you really want to know how? He lies about pointless stuff. He cuts in line every time. And he does plenty of other bad stuff too. But he also proves that it's never too late to change your ways.
What? Where is this from?
This is a 2017 children's book
Okay.
written by Jory John, who is also the writer of The Cool Beans, which I read to Zoe like a month ago. It's
Really?
upstairs in the nursery. Yeah. The Bad Seed is a
I
children's
can't believe
book.
that also the Bad Seed children's book takes top spot. Although, I
It
guess...
takes precedence.
Well, it takes precedence, but also, like, the publishers are probably more up on the SEO for a new book of Bad Seed, which
That's
is
true.
search engine optimization, getting your stuff to the top of Google. Like, it's more of a priority to get a new children's book out there than whatever company produced the Bad Seed.
Right. I'm not sure that William March, author of The Bad Seed from 1954,
Really has somebody out there doing SEO for him.
yeah,
Probably
or is
not.
learning computers himself
Yeah.
70 years later.
Right.
But I think it also speaks to the idea that, again, kind of like Psycho, and I haven't really thought about The Bad Seed in terms of Psycho, but maybe I should be. They are, I guess, two peas in a pod in a way.
Yeah.
But
Two seeds in a
satchel.
nut.
Two seeds in a nut. Two nuts in a pouch.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that much. Norman Bates and Rhoda.
That's true.
Rhoda Penmark and Norman Bates.
What a
Yikes.
name.
Rhoda Penmark.
Yeah.
But so I think that the movie or the concept of The Bad Seed is so overshadowed that there's a book at all. Much the same way that the movie Psycho overshadows that it's based on a novel.
Yes, which
That's
is
kind of
so
interesting.
good.
I know, it really, really is. So, The Bad Seed, the movie. Here's basically what it's about. And this thing is surprisingly dense and complicated, so I'm going to try to keep it simple. Rhoda is a precocious young girl. She's always wearing frilly dresses, even though girls of the age are starting to wear jeans.
Oh.
She's not interested in that. She prefers to dress in her frilly dress with her two long blonde pigtails, and she dances around in her tap shoes that she made herself.
Okay.
They say that like she herself managed to put like a little arc of metal on the bottom so that she can tap.
Oh.
So she's a genius kid, but also weirdly, even though it's 1956, which feels like a different society entirely,
Yeah.
she's also not with the times. She is not a very modern little kid. She prefers older fashion type little girl stuff.
Okay.
Which is odd to think of something from 1956 as being possible. She doesn't want to wear jeans.
Right.
She's complimented a lot by her aunt Monica, who is really the landlady who lives upstairs. She keeps lavishing gifts on Rhoda, and then she gives Rhoda something that Aunt Monica, received when she was 8 years old. She's like, we're just going to have to switch out the gemstone for your gemstone, Rhoda. And Rhoda goes, can't I have both? And her mom's like, Rhoda.
Yeah.
And she goes, and Monica even goes, oh, come on. She knows what she wants and she asks for it. And so everything about Rhoda is justified. No matter how selfish or how much she acts up, it is a strength of hers.
Yeah.
It gets turned into. She gets praise
Okay.
for some of her bad behavior.
I mean, a lot of girls get praised for the opposites, so
That's true.
Not mad about it.
Yes. As we meet her, she is super steamed, Rhoda, because recently her teacher, Miss Fern, gave out a medal, which she rarely does. She gave the medal out for best penmanship. And Rhoda believes she should have gotten it
Her last name is Penmark, for God's sake.
Absolutely. Her mother is a writer. Her mother, Christine. Her grandfather is Richard Bravo. Yes, the Richard Bravo.
What?
Yes. So she comes from writers.
Uh-huh.
Penmark is her name. And yet, the gold medal for best penmanship went to that little cretin Claude Daigle.
No!
Damn it, Claude Daigle!
Didn't even deserve it.
We start to see that this kid's got a temper.
Uh-huh.
Rhoda believes that she deserves the medal. She is incensed that she is not getting the medal. All right, Rhoda's mom, Christine, is very concerned about her. She sees the sort of writing on the wall that Rhoda's got a temper that other people, smile about.
Yeah.
And go like, oh, isn't she so fiery? Isn't she so smart? And she's a little concerned. She kind of wishes that the school would be a place where the super advanced Rhoda could still be taught how to be a kid.
Yeah, a little.
Learn a little
yeah.
patience, play with other children. But it seems she doesn't play with other kids very much. Rhoda's father, played by Richard Gere, who I have to assume is an ancient being.
What?
This man looks exactly like Richard Gere.
Oh, okay. All
Yeah,
right.
He looks exactly like Richard Gere. It's not actually Richard Gere.
I know. My
Although
head
it
was
might
spinning
be.
for a second because I was like, how could that possibly be?
He looks so much like Richard Gere. He's in the army and he's going to be away for a while. Dad's out of the picture.
Okay.
There's also, our other character out there is wacky old Leroy. Not Leroy.
Okay.
Some-
Leroy.
Some people call him Leroy. Most people call him Leroy.
It's weird that there's both.
I know. He sort of like keeps the grounds, right? He's the groundskeeper guy. And he is definitely like an archetype of like the scrounging around the dirt, like, oh yeah, I'll clean out the garbage. Yeah, I'll be right there. I'm going to clean out your garbage.
Yeah.
He's said to have the intellect of an 8-year-old.
Oh, okay.
And he does not like Rhoda.
Oh, he can sense it.
In fact, he's determined to get her somehow. He sleeps in the basement, which is weird. And I'm going to read you some segments of the script from this movie because I find the dialogue to be surprisingly intense and, again, more modern than 1950s. Or maybe not necessarily modern, but definitely not what I thought would be in a movie in the 1950s.
Like calls Rhoda the C word.
No, this is Aunt Monica, who owns the apartment building, talking to Leroy.
Okay.
Leroy has sprayed water at Rhoda's shoes, her tap shoes,
Okay.
and he's in trouble. So Aunt Monica goes, I implore you. I tried to give you the benefit of every doubt because you have a family. I've thought of you as emotionally immature, torn by irrational rages, a bit on the psychotic side. As if that's not the bad part yet. A bit on the psychotic?
Yeah, that's a strong word.
A bit on the psychotic side. That's intense. But after this demonstration, I think my diagnosis was entirely too mild. You're definitely a schizophrenic with paranoid overtones.
What?
I've had enough of your discourtesy and surliness, and so have the tenants in my building.
Does Aunt Monica have like the
Firebrand.
DSM-5 in her? I guess it'd be like the DSM-1 or something.
Right? Isn't this,
Yeah.
this language is surprising to me for the 50s. You're definitely a schizophrenic with paranoid overtones. She's not fit to make that diagnosis. But still, to be like throwing that out as
When was
an
Freud
insult?
like very hot?
Never? What do you mean? Like on the cover of like
Popular. Like people were like aware of like psychology and Freudian stuff.
on
So
the cover
maybe
of GQ?
yeah. So maybe it was, a holdover from
Maybe.
then.
She is. There's also a whole thing in this book about criminologists,
Uh-huh.
which I also find interesting. And Aunt Monica, I think, fancies herself to be sort of like. They imply that she goes to a lot of psychologists, so she's
Okay.
got sort of like the idea that she can diagnose people.
Yeah, it sounds like it. That's quite
Here's some
quite a
other.
bunch of stuff to roll out.
I know. Here's some other dialogue of Aunt Monica and Christine, the mother, speaking. Christine asks, "What do you feed a criminologist?" Because their criminologist friends are going to come around. Aunt Monica says, "Prussic acid, blue vitriol, ground glass." Christine says, "Haha, hot weather things." And Aunt Monica goes, "Oh, nothing would hurt Reggie. He thrives on buckets of blood and sudden death."
Oh.
And this is all part of the haha, see you later
Yeah,
sort of
yeah.
moment. But again, intensity.
Yeah.
Intensity. They're sitting around.
And playfulness with serious things.
Yeah.
Which I think is probably what is striking you as modern.
Maybe that's it. There's
Yeah.
there's irony here.
Yeah, yeah.
Having fun with murder. It's very true crime.
Mm-hmm.
They say to the
Very
criminologist,
screamy.
Very screamy.
Yeah.
You're not wrong at all. Entertain us with your latest work. What is your bloodthirsty scribbling about to disclose now? Criminologist says, I've been making a collection of data on Mrs. Allison. News Budget wants an article on her. Oh, you mean the practical nurse who killed all those people? They're getting into talking about serial killers.
Yeah.
She did away with 9 patients for the life insurance with almost as many different poisons. But you read about her in the paper, didn't you, Mrs. Penmark? The mother, Christine Penmark. Oh, only hastily, I must say. I'm afraid I shy away from reading about such things. Aunt Monica. Now that's an interesting psychic block. Why would Christine dislike reading about murders? And then Christine's like, oh, listen, I stay away from all that stuff. I don't even like that my army husband has a gun in the house. Like, it's all very true. Sitting around gossiping about murder and crime. Why would Christine dislike talking about killers? Because obviously everybody does.
Right.
Even back in the 50s. They get around to talking about the serial killer Bessie Denker. Most amazing woman in all the annals of homicide. She was beautiful, she had brains, she was ruthless, and she never used the same poison twice either. Her father, for example, died of rabies, supposedly contracted from a mad dog. Just weird.
Wow.
Yeah. Kristen goes, did you say Bessie Denker? She's thrown by it, and we don't know why yet. Okay. One day, actually, I think it's that same afternoon, through the radio, we now hear that a breaking bulletin. A child has drowned. They start to panic. Could it be Rhoda? Yeah. No. It was Claude Daigle, the boy who
won the penmanship award.
Yes. Not only that, when Rhoda comes home, Christine is all nervous, like, maybe I should be alone with her. I want to make sure that she's okay.
Yeah.
Rhoda gets home, and she's like, yeah, it was a strange day. That Daigle boy drowned. Can I have a peanut butter sandwich? And then she wants to put on her roller skates, and she just wants to roller skate down the street. And Christine is so thrown that her kid is not
she's like unaffected.
She's almost just like glad that she's okay, but it's weird. I don't know. It kicks off a ton of suspicion. Yeah. Here are some of the facts. The Daigle boy was found, his body was found in the water at the end of a pier. He drowned, his body was found among the pilings. What wasn't found on his body was the penmanship medal. It is missing. Daigle's mother starts coming around, and she's begun to just drink heavily. A lot of people criticize this woman's performance as saying that she was like a little too theatrical. A lot of the performances were sort of criticized. They were also nominated for Oscars.
Especially if they were on Broadway. Like, you're supposed to really be playing for the rafters.
Yes, and they are.
So,
a lot of them are. I think it's a flavor, it's a style.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed myself during this entire movie, and then I saw a bunch of people online going like, they're being cartoonish.
Yeah.
I don't care. So Claude Daigle's mother says that, here's another bit of info about him. She says it's not just that he drowned, it's what he obviously went through. The mortician had to cover up like little curvy scars on his head and hands. She's like, it's my boy. That's my boy. And she's destroyed. She's an absolutely destroyed person. Leroy begins taunting Rhoda because she's being so calloused. And he's basically insinuating right away. He's like, you had something to do with that Daigle boy, didn't you?
Yeah.
And just like sneaking around, creeping around. He starts getting in trouble. People are like, stay away from her, Leroy. Hey, Leroy.
Leave her alone.
That's enough of you.
Yeah.
And we start almost getting red herring type stuff of Leroy going like, oh, I'll make her scared yet. I'll find a way to get her. He like mutters to himself in scenes of himself alone. He soliloquizes about how much he wants to get her.
Yeah.
And we start to get some of the classic stuff of Rhoda talking to her mother. Every time her mother becomes curious or suspicious, she ends up doing this. She'll gently put her hands on her mother's cheeks and start caressing her face and saying, oh, I've got the prettiest mother, the nicest mother.
Yeah.
That's what I tell everybody. I say I've got the sweetest mother in the world. If she wanted a little boy so bad, why didn't she take one of the orphans home? And her mom's like, whoa, what does that mean? Why did I take one of the orphans? What?
Yeah.
Basically, Rhoda's saying, like, why are you worried about this boy?
Oh,
Who
okay.
cares?
Yeah, right.
You're being a little overly upset about this boy.
Yeah.
Rhoda's saying other stuff that's callous, too. Leroy is like, why aren't you upset? And she goes, why should I be upset? He's the one who drowned.
Yeah.
It's like harsh.
Rhoda's hardcore.
Yeah. Christine keeps trying to call her husband, and then and then second guessing herself and hanging up. I don't know. She starts to grow suspicious of something. She's always felt that she, Christine, might have been adopted. She eventually has it confirmed when her father comes over. He was the Richard Bravo, by the way.
Right.
Not just any Richard Bravo.
The Richard Bravo.
The writer.
Yeah.
He had once been writing about Bessie Denker, the serial killer. And he found a child, Christine, raised her as his own.
Oh, boy.
And so
It's in Rhoda's blood.
There's a whole conversation in this movie about
her
nature
blood.
versus nurture. The criminologists go on at length about well, yes, it very much can be in the blood. And Christine's dad, the Richard Bravo,
Right.
has always felt, no, it's the environment. It's about how you were raised and what you go through that makes you the person you are, not just being born bad or good. This movie is essentially making a case for, no, you can be born
Right.
with, psychopathy. It's a gene in a sense. So let's get spicy. Rhoda and Leroy are arguing.
Yeah.
Leroy is taunting her so much. He knows about the
Seems
crescent.
like Leroy needs to get a grip.
Leroy's got some issues.
He's an adult.
He sleeps in the basement on
Yeah,
a bed of
right.
Excelsior.
Right. What do you mean a bed of Excelsior?
Evidently, I guess that's hay. I don't know.
What?
There's a whole scene of Rhoda going oh, here, have some Excelsior. You sleep in this, don't you? In that makeshift bed behind the furnace. And she's throwing hay at him. It must be
Does he work for her?
He works for the building.
Okay.
you
Okay.
know? So I think that it's
Somebody
almost...
needs to help him.
Leroy's in bad shape.
It seems like Leroy's in a very bad way.
He's having a hard
He's
time.
sleeping on hay
And
behind.
fighting with 8-year-olds.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. But so anyway, he starts taunting her further, saying, I bet you hit that boy with a stick. I bet you killed him. And I bet you got blood on that stick. And I bet I know what you did with that stick. You threw it into the woods. But I know something you don't know. I know something you don't know. Even if you cleaned all that blood off that stick, the police have bloodhounds. He calls them stick bloodhounds because
He's Leroy.
he's Leroy. Leroy does what Leroy wants. But so he goes, even if you washed all the blood off the stick, the bloodhounds can find it. And if the bloodhounds find it, the police have a sort of powder that they can sprinkle on that stick, and it'll blow as blow as glue.
Yeah.
It'll flow green.
Yeah. Flow green.
It'll glow as blue as a robin's egg, and they'll catch you.
Leroy just put himself in the line of fire. I feel.
Did. He also tells her that when they catch
Hay
her,
is very flammable.
oh yeah, he tells her that when they catch her, they've got electric chairs for her. They've got little blue ones for little boys and little pink electric chairs for girls just like Rhoda. This is what prompts Rhoda to try to get rid of the murder weapon. Her mother catches her trying to sneak to the incinerator with the tap shoes. The metal that she added to her tap shoes are in the shape of a crescent along the heel.
Oh, the
Rhoda.
curved.
Rhoda
Scars.
finally confesses.
Ooh.
And it is in a very disturbing, warped justification, serial killer logic of, I hated that Claude Daigle. I asked him for the medal. I asked him to give it to me and he wouldn't. So I hit him and then I hit him again. He made me do it. She is scary.
Yeah.
She is very, and then she'll turn on a dime to be like, but you won't turn me in, mother, won't you? Will you? I'm so scared of what they do to me. I have the prettiest mother, the nicest mother. She always turns it to be she was the victim.
Yeah, right.
He wouldn't give me the medal, so I hit him. I had to. Then I knocked him off the pier, and he tried to grab onto the end, and he said he was going to tell. And I couldn't let him do that to me, mother. I couldn't let him tell. So she hit him on the hands with her shoes as well. That's why his body is covered in those little crescent shapes. She admits to the murder. And her mother, not really knowing what to do, sits quietly and finally goes, bring your shoes to the incinerator. Burn them. Christine is now in on it, essentially. And in such a way that...
Ooh, she's giving Rhoda too much power.
Yes, as Rhoda skips away, happy,
Yeah.
you realize this worked out exactly the way that Rhoda needed it to. She didn't want to get caught.
Yeah.
Having gotten caught, this is the best possible scenario.
Absolutely.
Mommy's going to cover for
And now
me.
she knows she can make mommy do anything.
Yes, which is why she goes after Leroy next.
Yeah.
Leroy claims that he figures out about the shoes. He tells her that he got them out of the incinerator. He doesn't know. He's just sort of trying to mess with
bluffing.
her. He doesn't even necessarily think this is all definitely happening.
Yeah.
I don't know what Leroy's deal is, but once he lands on it and she's like, give me those shoes. He's like, that's it, isn't it?
It's real. Yeah.
Oh my God. I was right about all this. He's like, I don't have them. I'm telling you, I don't have them. She goes, give me those shoes. Like, she's not going to let him go.
Yeah.
And then there's a fire. There's a fire in the basement, and Leroy is no more.
Freaking knew it.
He's dead.
I freaking knew she would see that Excelsior and be like the quickest path to Leroy murder.
Yep.
Burning up the Excelsior.
Yep. As Christine is watching the fire burning, Rhoda's in her bedroom.
Smiling like Wayne at the end of Wayne's World.
Oh, my God. No, the mother is staring in horror.
Yeah.
Rhoda has secreted away to her bedroom to play Claire de Lune on her piano. Faster and faster, louder and louder, faster and faster, louder and louder, faster and faster, louder and louder, while Christine's going, my God, what did you do? Get out here, Rhoda. And Rhoda's essentially trying to drive her mother crazy now.
Mm-hmm.
And so she goes, do you love me, Mommy? It wasn't my fault. He said he'd tell the police and give them my shoes. So again, not Rhoda's fault. It's never her fault. It turns out they
No.
had a nanny at an old place that she pushed down the stairs once. But she had to. She always had to.
Mm-hmm.
Christine is starting to get scared about them locking Rhoda up.
Yeah.
She's in a crazy place of, my child's a killer. I was always nervous about her, and now all my worst fears are confirmed in triplicate.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want them to take my daughter. I don't want them to take her.
Mm-hmm.
So she reads Rhoda a story, hands her vitamins. Rhoda eats them all with her apricot
Oh my
juice, which is
God.
so good it doesn't even need ice. She loves apricot juice. Rhoda, pen mark. She zonks out Rhoda. Christine puts her in her bedroom, closes the door, walks into her own room. Bang.
Holy crap.
We hear a gun go off. Fade back up. Daddy's home. Richard Gere's back.
Uh-huh.
And it turns out that the gunshot alerted Aunt Monica upstairs, who came down, found Rhoda, and had just enough time to save her.
Oh.
Rhoda's just fine. She's skipping down the hospital hallway into Daddy's arms. And Mommy, well, Mommy survived too. Which is surprising for a number of
What do you
reasons
mean?
that I'll get into. She survived her own gunshot wound, though she tried to kill herself.
Right.
That night, with Mommy still in the hospital and Daddy none the wiser, Rhoda puts on her rain slicker and she goes down to the pier where she had pushed that Daigle boy into the water. You see, when Mommy found the medal, she got rid of the evidence by throwing it where it belongs, into the water. But Rhoda is going out now to claim what's rightfully hers. So in the dark, in the rain, she walks down the street with her flashlight, clicking it against the white fence post as she goes, almost like a Tom Sawyer type.
Yeah.
Like a little kid out in the
Joyful.
world.
Yeah.
Goes out into the water, sees it under the water with her flashlight, grabs a net, goes to fish it out. Lightning strikes. Blows up the end of the pier. The camera pans up through a tree into the night sky. Rhoda has been destroyed by...
That is an unconventional ending, or whatever they called it. What they call it?
They called it an unusual climax.
Yeah.
Rhoda has been killed by Zeus, the
Yeah.
god of thunder.
Yeah, she had blown
Lightning
to smithereens.
has struck the bad seed, and she is dead. And it just says, the end. That's the end of this movie. This crazy, loaded, dense,
It sounds awesome.
twisty, turny, true crimey,
Yeah.
killer kid story about psychopathy and nature versus nurture.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, Rhoda is the grandchild of a prolific serial killer.
Uh-huh.
Did it skip a generation? Or maybe
Or
it didn't, because
yeah.
Christine was obviously struggling with a lot as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's heavy.
It's got heavy themes.
It really does. And I think they knew that.
For what I remember as being a somewhat campy movie.
Yeah. Oh, I've got the prettiest mother.
Yeah.
The sweetest mother. They knew exactly.
It's even campy and amazing that the pier gets struck by lightning and explodes.
It's an act of God.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It's this child has gone too
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
She must be removed from the planet.
Right, we have to course correct.
Yes.
We made a problem up here.
Also, doesn't that almost imply on a Destiny type level that Christine was right to try to kill her child
Yes.
with pills?
Yes.
That's strange.
Mm-hmm.
So they obviously knew that this was too heavy. Matter of fact, this is not what the book ends with, nor the Broadway play. It was because
I like it.
I think it's fascinating. I think it is fascinating,
Yeah.
fascinating. From IMDb, the original ending had Rhoda surviving and her mother dying. That is what it is in the book and in the play. The implication is that Rhoda will be just fine and she's going to keep on keeping on, and her mother is basically just another victim.
I mean, that seems like a very cut and dry kind of typical and good and fine ending for something. Be like, oh, it's going to continue on.
Yes.
You know?
But so the motion picture production code in effect at the time, however, required that, quote, crime shall never be presented in such a way as to throw sympathy with the crime as against law and order. The usual interpretation of this was that criminals were not allowed to get away with it. Because of this, the ending was changed. Rhoda's mother survived being shot in the head, and Rhoda herself was killed by a bolt of lightning by a lake. What a fix to
crazy.
She had to be punished.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Punished by God.
Yeah.
Punished by the gods of weather or random chance.
Yeah.
That's even scarier.
I think they probably, I don't know, is it implied that it's God punishing her?
No,
it seems more
it's
like
not.
a random chance
It's
thing.
more about random chance. But in a story that's about nature or nurture,
That's
and
true.
sort of like an undertone to me is almost like a predestination kind of idea, it does to me start to flirt, not in a deliberate textual way, but it does start to flirt with like who's governing these events.
Yeah.
You know? And you can call that God, whatever.
It's awesome.
To me, my true interpretation, I think, is that it's the God hand of the filmmaker going, oh, we have to kill her.
Yeah.
Lightning.
Yeah.
The like in
'cause
universe.
kind of what else can you do?
The in universe is the harsh reality of randomness. Christine could not have truly guessed that she was the child of a serial killer.
Right.
Or that her child would become a serial killer herself. It's about
Right.
how punishingly brutal nature is.
Yeah.
That's what it's really about.
Yeah.
Like in universe rules. Nature is going to kill you.
You know, it's kind of the yin to Dexter's yang. Because Dexter is nurtured into a
true.
serial killer because he's born in blood.
That's very much true.
I keep saying blood like that.
Blood.
I'm joking, but I'm starting to annoy myself.
Well,
I'm just
also,
gonna say the word blood.
Dexter was found at a crime scene and
Yeah.
raised by a police officer father. Rhoda was found at a crime scene and raised by a journalist father. Dexter is sort of...
Or not Rhoda. Christine was found at a crime scene.
Christine, yes,
Yeah.
thank you. So yeah, you're right. Like Dexter is almost like a bite at the same apple or something. A lot of stories have later tried to recapture this or iterate on this.
Yes,
this is also
for
one of those
sure.
things.
The Good Son for sure does.
Which I think is a wonderful double feature for us. I just have
I
a
think
few
so
more
too.
things.
No,
to quickly
fine.
say.
I wasn't even trying to transition.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
There's a lineage here. I was saying this to Allie the other day. I was like, I forget what specifically we were talking about, but we were talking about sometimes it's nice to like watch a movie that is so ingrained in pop culture or like modern thinking that now that you've seen it, you go, oh, I see where all the references have been
totally.
right in front of me that I've been blind to. Like when I saw Twin Peaks, I was older.
Yeah.
And suddenly I was like, oh my God.
Everything is like Twin
Everything
Peaks.
I've seen suddenly makes so much more sense because it was
Yeah.
all influenced by this. Bad Seed is very much like that to me. I see the connective strands to a million other places from here.
Totally. I need to warn you. Well, not you really as much, but everybody out there. If you don't have Twin Peaks on DVD or whatever, and you want to watch Twin Peaks, it's leaving Netflix at the end of June.
Oh, interesting.
So get in there.
Get in there.
It's the best.
So, like I said, the end of this movie was too intense for the Hays Code or whatever. So they had to change it. Not only that, they obviously knew it was too intense. And like I said, it opens with a curtain call like Broadway. Everybody comes out and takes their bow.
I wonder if that's partially to show, obviously they know it's a movie, but like this little girl is alive here.
That it's okay.
Yeah.
It absolutely is. Because when the performer who plays Christine comes in, she does her like sort of bow. And then she goes, and you, and she wags her finger and runs over where Rhoda is sitting on the couch, very much alive.
Yeah.
And the actress playing the mother grabs the actress playing the daughter, pulls her over her knee and starts spanking her.
Uh-huh.
What a big, like, dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
Yeah.
That's all, folks. It's campy.
Yeah.
But I think it's to make you go, okay, everything's okay.
Yeah, right.
This kid's being punished in, like, not a proper way, but the metaphor of they're still here. They're
They're not dead.
one of them doesn't have a gunshot wound in the head and the other one's
Right.
not exploded off a pier.
Right.
They're sitting on the couch together.
Yeah.
And the mother is finally getting the better of the child. Spanking ain't right.
Nah.
But like at least it does like metaphorically what you just spent 2 hours staring at.
Yeah.
So, young Patty McCormick, who played Rhoda, was nominated for an Oscar Did not win it, but was nominated. Here are some things that people have said from Wikipedia. Psychologist Robert D. Hare argues that the evidence of the movie suggests psychopathy is an inborn trait. He discusses the bad seed in his 1993 nonfiction book, Without a Conscience. A lengthy quote from the novel opens Hare's book, describing, in March's words, the author, in March's words, how most decent individuals are not by nature suspicious and thus unable to understand or anticipate the acts of evil and depravity that some people are capable of committing. Later in the book, he argues that the novel is remarkably true to life. It's a portrayal of the development of psychopathy in childhood, illustrating both Rhoda's callous use of others to serve her own ends, as well as Christine's, the mother's, growing helplessness and desperation as she realizes the extent of her daughter's behavior.
Yeah.
So the novel from 1956 was actually, according to one person at least, fairly realistic.
Interesting.
Nature.
Yeah.
It's a gene. Here's a review from Amazon. I have exactly one because it was awesome. 1-star review from Sandra L. Thornton. Film before my time. Would have been good if characters were not from Stone Age. Perhaps Alfred Hitchcock knew all these characters. Did not even know anything was black and white now.
What?
Yeah. Pissed at this movie being in black and white. Pissed about it.
She should have turned it off right away then.
Yeah, would have been good if characters were not from Stone Age.
That's so funny.
Would have been good.
Would have been good.
But it's too old and in black and white.
Yeah.
Perhaps Alfred Hitchcock knew all
I
them.
don't get that.
The implication is Alfred Hitchcock, some old son of a bitch. He probably knew
Who
them.
knows everybody who's in black and white?
Yeah, I guess. He's so ancient. But then maybe they would have loved the remake from 1985, The Bad Seed, which restores the original ending. Rhoda gets away with it. Christine's dead. Nobody liked it.
Yeah.
It's made for television.
Yeah.
There's also...
was anybody we know in it?
Not that I really
Okay.
knew. Not that jumped out at me. But I do have a surprise cameo in just a second.
Ooh.
In 1995...
Surprise cameo just for me.
What?
Surprise cameo just for me.
Surprise cameo just for you.
So stupid.
Scream 2.
Freaking nerds.
In 1995, there was a sort of spiritual sequel starring Patty McCormack, who played Rhoda in the movie The Child. The movie is called Mommy. Patty McCormack is mom. Mom is a serial killer in this one.
Oh, okay.
She came back for a sequel in 1997 called Mommy 2, Mommy's Day.
What?
The movie is called Mommy 2, Mommy's Day.
Wow. Are these TV movies?
I think they're movies.
Okay.
I think.
Mommy 2, Mommy's Day.
Mommy 2, Mommy's Day. The first
Awesome.
movie, so she was in The Bad Seed,
Yeah.
then Mommy,
Yeah.
then Mommy 2, Mommy's Day.
Okay.
They could have called it The Bad Mommy.
Yeah, Bad Mommy.
Bad Mommy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the last thing I have to say, there is a modern Bad Seed. 2018, Lifetime original movie, starring McKenna Grace of The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina
Okay.
as the daughter. And the dad is played by the same person who directed this, Rob Lowe.
Oh, yeah.
Rob Lowe directed a modern version of The Bad Seed.
Yes, this came out like not super long after the Lowe Files.
Oh, really?
I think because I mean maybe in the next couple of years because I remember being like, oh, that's right, like this dude likes weird stuff. I'm in, but I never watched it.
I watched, so somebody put together a video of all the Bad Seeds confessing to their crimes. And Patty McCormack's is once again where she's like, I had to hit him. I hit him again and again. And it's so scary. In the 85, she's like, I had to kill him. I knew I was going to kill him. And then in the 2018, it's Rob Lowe whispering. He's like, I need you to tell me the truth. And he goes, tell me! It's like very flat, I think, because he's directing as well. It's maybe too much to multitask. He's all whispering. Like, I said, tell me again!
Well, maybe he really benefits as an actor from a director.
You
And he
gotta tell me.
didn't really have one because
Maybe.
it was him, you
Maybe,
know?
yeah.
That's very
But
funny.
it was interesting. You can find that online. It was very fascinating to see. Everybody go watch The Bad Seed. I was, if it's not clear enough already, quite enamored of it.
Where did you watch it?
Amazon.
Is it free on Amazon or?
No.
Yeah.
You can rent it for $3 or buy it for $5.
Okay.
I'm happy to say I bought it for $5.
Good. Very
That
good.
was wonderful. 2 hours long, a little too long.
Yeah.
I'm fine with 2-hour movies.
Yeah.
This in particular did feel a little bit long to me. Really, really enjoyed myself.
awesome.
Really enjoyed it. Although it would have been better if characters were not from Stone Age.
But,
But
know.
what can you do?
And Alfred Hitchcock must have known all of them.
He must have known all of them. Come on. I didn't even know I didn't even know anything was black and white now.
What must they thought? Must have. You know what I'm saying?
I don't even know what that last sentence
What must they have
means.
thought was going on?
That everything in black and white had been colorized? Did not even know
maybe.
anything was black and white now.
You know what?
Film before my time would have been good if characters were not from Stone Age.
That's so funny.
Sandra L. Thornton can only watch things from after her time.
That's awesome.
During her time? I don't know. Whatever.
knows?
That's The Bad Seed. It was so good.
Ugh.
And scary. Genuinely scary. The Patty McCormick character, it's a frightening portrayal.
Yeah.
It is a scary movie. It'll make you
Awesome.
feel bad at times.
Mm-hmm.
It'll
I
freak
would
you
imagine.
out. I highly recommend.
All right, awesome. Well, I am going to talk about a movie that was definitely heavily inspired by The Bad Seed called The Good Son from, I think it was 1993, starring Macaulay Culkin and Elijah Wood. But first, just want to make sure you know something about these bad seeds.
Yeah.
These scary children. You can find everything having to do with the show at gttupod.com. You'll have links to our social media, our merch, information if you'd like to advertise with us, and very importantly, our Patreon page. You can also go to that directly from patreon.com/gttupod. And the deal is that if you decide to donate $4 or more to us per month as a thank you for doing this show for free every week, we have a bunch of thank you bonuses. So there is a bonus episode that comes out on the 13th of every month. We have instructions there for how you can put it right into your podcast player with everything else, so it's no big deal. But you get like a secret show that not everybody has. As of recording right now, I believe there are 21 episodes of that you may not have heard yet. So go do that. As we mentioned, we do a live stream every month where we plan out the next month of shows and we talk to our patrons during the stream. We bounce ideas off of each other and sometimes the people who are watching. And so the people who are in our Patreon often play a pretty big role in molding the shows for the month. And at the very least, they know what's coming and they see the way that we like to plan this stuff out. So it's very fun. And then we also have a Discord that's only for patrons of the show. So a Discord is basically like a chat room, and it's divided into all these different subjects, and people are talking to each other in there every single day, and it's really awesome.
It's super fun. There's so much more to Guide to the Unknown than just what you're listening to. But we hope that you're having a good time. So also consider going to Apple Podcasts and leave us a 5-star review. Tell us what you think about the show. We would greatly appreciate it.
We really would.
Yeah. Plus, it'll get us closer to starting a new show I want to start called The Good Seeds, where we are just polite to everyone.
Just very nice kids.
Doesn't that sound horrible?
Yeah, I would hate that.
The Good Seeds.
The good seeds. No, thank you. All right, so let's move on to The Good Son. Have you ever seen The Good Son?
No, I think... You know what? I did read some of the Wikipedia for this just out of curiosity.
Yeah.
And I feel like we talked about it, or maybe I just researched it just to research
I've
it.
talked about it because I've wanted to see it forever.
Yeah.
I've never seen it before. It just sounds so weird to me, like Macaulay Culkin being like a little bad guy.
I know.
And, he's fun to watch, and so is Elijah Wood as kids. So it seemed appealing to me. Like, they're people who you know, kind of, in a
Right.
horror movie as kids. I have brought it up multiple times. So
Maybe
I
that's
think
why.
That's why. But I had never seen it before either.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a very glancing overview of what happens in The Good Son. But then I kind of want to pick out like certain moments that especially stood out and how they relate to The Bad Seed, like where you can kind of see those threads and tropes that are the same, stuff
It even
like that.
very much sounds like it's a riff, right? The Bad Seed, the good son. Yeah.
Totally. Something that I thought was interesting about this is that it was filmed between Home Alone 1 and Home Alone 2. And Macaulay Culkin's dad, who was managing him, wanted him to do this movie so badly that he told the studio that if he wasn't allowed to do The Good Son, then he wouldn't do Home Alone 2.
Oh.
And so there was this like restructuring of the schedule for The Good Son because they were in conflict at one point, but he was like adamant that he has to do this movie. I think that they were trying to show like range
Yeah. Okay.
And because of the schedule change, luckily Elijah Wood was then available because they wanted him for it. He couldn't do the original shooting schedule. They changed it because of Macaulay Culkin's dad strong-arming them, and then they came back to Elijah Wood and were like, "Can you do it now?" And his people or his parents or whatever were like, "Yes."
Okay.
And so magic was born. Now, Macaulay Culkin in this movie, not good.
Really?
It's not a great performance.
Oh.
I love Macaulay Culkin.
I like him quite a bit.
It's super flat.
Yeah.
Like, I think it just doesn't feel like a bad guy.
Yeah.
And he's a little kid, you know what I mean? But there are times that I think without the musical cues being scary, that you wouldn't necessarily totally know that he's saying something that's meant to be sinister.
Oh, really?
Like, for example, there's one line where he's talking to Elijah Wood, and, you know, it's scary in context, but he says, "Once you realize you can do anything, you're free. You can fly. Nobody can touch you." And if it wasn't for music or just the context of the movie being like, him feeling free is
Yeah,
not a good thing,
not a
he's
good
kind of
thing.
just saying it.
Well, to be fair, that line doesn't give you a lot. Right?
No, I just pulled that as one that like could go either way, I guess.
There's a subtext to that feels a little adult to me. Right?
Yeah.
Like once you realize
did
you
you
can
realize
do anything.
little kids, do they really feel that encumbered? Like,
Right.
don't they kind of feel like they can do anything anyway?
Exactly. Like
But
that's why, like, even like the bad seed, she's more just sort of being like, I could do whatever I want.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if he were saying that,
yeah.
you know, that would be scary.
There aren't really moments like that. It's not great. It was
Okay.
entertaining enough. It's 90 minutes.
Yeah.
It's a tight 90, but it's not great. It's not
Okay.
great. It's an uneventful horror movie.
It didn't expand your horizons the way the bad seed did for me.
No.
It didn't change your life.
It didn't change me. I thought that the mom kind of looked like Carla Gugino, or however you say her name.
Gugino.
Gugino.
Carla Gugino.
And so I was spending some time trying to figure out if this is Carla Gugino.
So I was working on that.
Yeah, I was working on that. I was zoning out a little bit. Sometimes it wasn't great. I'll get to something that I thought was a possibility, even though I knew it could not possibly be.
Yeah.
But something happened while I was zoned out, and I was like, wait a second. So anyway, here's the plot of the Good Son. Here's what's happening. So Elijah Wood's mother in the beginning dies. She's sick and she passes away. And then his dad has to like go on a work trip or something. So he's going to leave Elijah Wood with his family for a couple of weeks, which includes Macaulay Culkin, who is his cousin. So I'm just going to keep calling them Macaulay and Elijah because
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
easier
yeah,
for
yeah.
you to picture at home thinking about it than their names.
By the way, the parallels are not just to the bad seed. There's also a parallel to Home Alone, where Macaulay Culkin has to spend time with his cousin Fuller, who, if he has Pepsi, he'll wet the bed.
He'll wet the bed. What's scarier than that? There's also a parallel to Home Alone because as soon as Elijah Wood comes in, Macaulay Culkin, like, pokes his head down from the stairs and he's wearing this, like, weird paper mache mask and he goes, "Ah!"
Really?
Yes.
Like to try to scare Elijah Wood?
Yes. Like,
Oh.
playfully. But, yeah, I was
Does
like,
he look straight in the camera and go, my cousin's here and I'm a serial killer?
and I'm scary.
And wiggle his eyebrows.
Sadly, no.
Damn.
There's another point in the movie where he calls his sister vermin, and it's kind of like they're at the table with like family and stuff, and it reminded me of something that Kevin McAllister would say
Whoa.
because they have such weird insults in Home Alone.
Yeah.
I feel like I could see him calling Buzz vermin.
You're vermin, Buzz.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So anyway, so Elijah Wood is gonna live there for a while. It's Macaulay Culkin. There's a younger daughter who is a Culkin in her only acting role. She decided she's like a teeny kid,
Yeah, yeah.
but she decided she doesn't want to go into acting. Rory Culkin is extremely briefly in this, only in a photo, as the youngest sibling. So it's all the Culkin siblings are the siblings in
Yeah.
this movie.
Whoa.
He has a sibling named Richard who drowned in the bathtub when he was an infant.
Oh.
And so you only see him in a picture. And then it's a mom and dad. So over the course of the movie, Macaulay Culkin is slowly showing signs that he's evil. At first, he seems just kind of like playful. Maybe he's a little bit more of like a roughhouser boy than Elijah Wood. But Elijah Wood's kind of like, all right, I guess this is okay or whatever.
Yeah.
And then things start to happen where he's like, you're evil. This is not good. And Macaulay Culkin turns on him when Elijah Wood is finally like, I've had it. This is not great. And then Macaulay Culkin starts trying to like set up Elijah Wood as the crazy one.
Oh.
So he tells they're at the kitchen. They're in the kitchen in the middle of the night because Elijah Wood's getting like a midnight snack or something, and Macaulay is like, "Oh, I'm sure you think I poisoned my family, but I would never do something like that. Poison all their food. Why would I do that?" And so then Elijah Wood is like, "Ah!" and starts like pulling everything out of the fridge. Ah! I don't know if we talked about on the show. We have I don't know if you like an inside joke, a family shtick. Ryan and I do this too, where it's screaming without expressing anything in the eyes, and it's always a very not throaty scream. It's just that
with flat eyes.
Yep.
That's what they do on
It's
like
very fun.
Goosebumps or Are You Afraid of the Dark, where it's child actors that can't do scared,
Right.
and the camera just pushes in on them, usually before a commercial. Ah!
Yeah.
And it fades to
They
black.
look fine, pretty much.
Ah! Oh, yours is so funny. I like struggle to make. It just makes me laugh.
I know.
At it. Do it right into the camera.
Ryan's is really good too, actually. I feel like I'm expressing too much. Maybe.
know what?
I'm doing it too much.
You know what I want to do?
What?
We'll do. Maybe we should actually try to do this. Let's mimic what those shows look like this weekend. I think we want to come over and go swimming.
Yes.
Let's do push-ins on your face and push-in on Ryan. We'll
Yeah.
each do our best version
That sounds very
of
fun.
the ab face and do like the Dutch angle push-in,
That sounds very fun.
and then
okay.
fade to a commercial for like Nerf guns, and then fade back and it's another person doing it.
It's so
We'll just put
fun.
them all up.
Yep. So you guys
It's
will.
so goddamn.
you guys
funny.
will see. It's
so
very.
funny.
It's very fun to do, and it's very funny to watch other people.
It's
do.
one of the funniest things you do. It makes me
Thank
laugh
you.
so much.
Thank
You're the
you.
inventor of this, by the way.
I did invent.
I
this.
tried to do it, but this is a Kristen.
No, you're good at it.
Oh, I don't think I'm doing it. You make me laugh the second that your face contorts into this. And by
so
contort, I
funny.
mean like
No, I assume,
softens.
I assume the position. Yeah, you have to let go of any
It's so funny.
control of
Yeah.
the face. But so he's like, no, or whatever. It's like, pulling all that stuff out, and he's like jamming tortellini into the like garbage disposal, and Macaulay runs upstairs. He's like, "Mom, Dad, it's Elijah. Something's wrong." And Elijah's like, "No!" down there. And so they're like, "What is wrong with him?"
It's tortellini. I'm sorry.
And so like Elijah is seeing a child psychologist because he's like, his mother just passed away and everything, and he needs to tell an adult that like Macaulay is like off his nut. So he like runs to the child psychologist, and Macaulay is already there telling her that Elijah's off his nut.
What? How did you get there first?
I don't know. I also feel like they give, I know it was a different time. I think this was 1993. I feel like they give kids too much freedom in this town. Like the two of them are just like walking around town together just by themselves like all the time. And at
Right.
one point they're in the town and like Macaulay goes to do something and Elijah's on the bench and his psychologist comes up and she's like, "You missed our appointment yesterday. Like, what's wrong?" And I was like, isn't his aunt bringing him to this appointment? It's like this child's responsibility to stick to his
It's
schedule.
up to him to make sure he gets there on time. You missed
Yeah.
our appointment, and it's a 9-year-old boy.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you don't say it to the aunt.
Ma'am,
Like,
I'm 10 years old. Do you think I'm creeping around here trying to kill my cousin? I don't think so.
so okay, so this is all happening. And Elijah has told the mom, like, look, something's not so hot with Macaulay. I think that so I was gonna format this a little differently, doesn't really matter. So he tries to kill his little sister, Macaulay.
Oh,
Elijah
not Elijah Wood?
No. Well, later maybe, but no. Well, it's to get Elijah Wood. So
okay.
Macaulay and Elijah share a room, and at one point the little sister comes in and is like excited to go skating the next day. And she's like, "We're gonna go skating," and Macaulay's like, "What did I tell you about coming in my room?" Is like getting on his sister, and then Elijah comes and like chokes Macaulay against the wall. And it's like,
Whoa.
"It's my room too, and she's allowed to be in here." And he's like, "Oh, you like her so much. She's such a sweet little girl. It'd be so terrible if something were to happen to her, right?" And Elijah's like, "You wouldn't dare." And he's like, so then the next day, Elijah Wood wakes up in the morning. Macaulay's not in bed. He looks, and the little sister isn't in bed either. And he comes down the stairs to be like, where are they? And he hears his aunt, Macaulay's mom, being like, oh, they're down at Hartford Park, ice skating. And Macaulay's like, no! I mean, Elijah. So Elijah hauls ass to the pond. And so this is the part where I was like zoning out a little bit for a minute. So they're just like skating around the pond. So you see Macaulay holding his sister's hand. They're like skating around, and they're doing that for a while. And Macaulay's like skating really fast. Does he ice skate in like Home Alone or Home Alone 2?
In Home Alone 2, Lost
Yeah,
in New
right,
York,
exactly. Okay, that's what I thought.
He's running away from Harry and Marv.
Yes.
And he goes across the ice, and he slides on his knees like a rock star.
That's what I thought.
Whoa! Going in between people's legs and stuff. Yeah.
Yes, that's what I thought. I was like, so this must be like a skill on his resume or something that
Likes
they
to
pull
slide.
out. Yeah, loves to slide, can do a mean ice skate.
Yeah.
So he's like pulling her very fast, but she's having a good time. So I was like, okay, I see how this is menacing or whatever, because it's a dangerous place.
He's trying to get a tailwind to carry her up and away.
Okay, here's the thing. So
The
I kind of
sky.
zone out or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe I went to get something to drink. I come back and the
I
little
kind of zoned out. Maybe I wasn't even in the room. I don't know.
our kitchen is next to the living room. So yeah, and like the last thing I'd seen was like him like skating really fast in a circle, kind of. And then like the next thing I know, the girl is like in the ice. Like she's fallen through the ice into the water. I knew that this wasn't what happened. It doesn't make sense, but I couldn't help but say it aloud to Ryan. I was like, did he like spin around the ice so fast, like a diamond cutting glass,
Right,
to weaken a circle for his sister to plunge through?
He drilled into the ice.
Yeah.
With his own feet.
Right, that's what I didn't really think happened, but I was like, I saw him going real fast in a circle. Is that what he was doing? It's not what he was doing. He spun with her really fast and then flung her to an area that was cordoned off, that was thin ice.
Okay.
And then she fell through the ice. She was saved, so she's okay.
Okay.
But, Elijah went to the mom and was like, I think he tried to kill the little sister. And she's like, what? No, how could you say that or whatever? But enough of a seed is planted, a bad seed. And she's like, there have been some other weird things.
Come to think of it, he is crazy.
Yeah, right. This kid is nuts. So he has this shed that I feel his parents should check like daily. That's like outside their property. It's like a hole in the fence, and there's the woods, and there's this like shed out there.
Oh no.
So the mom decides to go check out the shed, and she's looking around. There is a doll that's hanging from a noose from the ceiling. She has no reaction. She pushes that to the side. She doesn't even really do like a take, like yikes, but like I gotta keep going. She's just like, push. And I was like, what the hell? She finds a rubber ducky behind something in the shed. And then Macaulay Culkin comes in, like holding something. And she's like, where did you get this? This was Richard's rubber ducky, the son who had drowned in the bathtub.
Oh.
And he's like, it was mine first.
Oh.
And she's like, why do you have this or whatever? And so she's kind of, and he's like, yeah, give it to me. So they like wrestle. So he's like bad for the first time in front of her. And so she's like, oh God, this is not good.
He's the bad son.
He's the bad son now. So now she knows like what's up basically. And I'm trying to think what happens, exactly how this progresses.
I just came up with a better name than the good son.
Uh-huh.
Right? If you're trying to ape off of the bad seed, I
Yeah.
can see why you get to the good son. It's ironic. But to keep it more in the vegetation,
Yeah.
the world of vegetation, the bad seed, and then here you've got the rough nut.
The rough nut.
Sometimes
The tough nut. Like a tough nut to
people are
crack.
born a tough nut.
Sometimes you're born a tough nut.
But a tough nut implies that
Yeah,
it's
you're
like
right.
you
They're
can get
nice.
through
Yeah,
a
yeah,
rough
yeah.
nut.
A rough nut.
The rough nut. Now all of this ducky business is almost exactly what happened with Rhoda, the bad seed, and the medal.
Yes,
because
exactly.
she drowned Claude Daigle and took the medal, and it sounds to me like Macaulay Culkin
did.
drowned his brother and took the ducky.
He did indeed.
Wow.
Not good.
No.
Not good.
Uh-uh.
So he realizes he needs to get in his mother's good graces. Like somehow they get back from the shack or whatever. And he's like, Mom, can we take a walk like we used to and talk or whatever? And she's like, okay. I should mention there's also like a gigantic, like 180-foot cliff, like, walking distance or whatever.
Okay.
So
I'm sure you're mentioning that for no reason.
yes, of course. Like when Elijah Wood told her that like Macaulay Culkin was bad, she was on that cliff just like staring out, thinking about Richard, and she slapped him, Elijah Wood, because she like can't handle this. She misses her one son. Now you're saying this other son is bad, but she obviously came around.
Yeah.
So they're taking a walk there, and Macaulay pushes his mom off the cliff.
What?
Yeah. But Elijah Wood saw that they were going off to take a walk, so he's like, oh no, I need to save my aunt. And he came after them, and then he starts wrestling with Macaulay on the ground on the cliff. And so the mom has like the most strength ever and is able to climb back. She didn't fall all the way down, but she like gets back up. And then in their tussle that they're having, they both end up over the cliff. And the mom has one of them on each arm.
Oh no.
Right. And like it's a far thing down. And so then Macaulay Culkin, kind of like the bad seed, starts being like, Mommy, Mommy. Like he was like such an evil little bad guy. And he's like, Mommy, I love you. Please save me, Mommy. Mommy, please, or whatever. And Elijah's like, no, help. And she lets go of Macaulay Culkin and saves Elijah Wood.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he's slipping it. They're both slipping. It's you got to make a decision.
She's gonna have to pick one.
Yep. And she lets Macaulay go, and it is really high up, and it's a shot of Macaulay Culkin falling, like he's fallen off of Nakatomi Plaza.
Yeah.
And it's intense, and she picks up Elijah Wood, and then they fall on the cliff, and they're like, or whatever, and it ends with Elijah Wood in voiceover, being like, so
that was a hell of a summer.
Kind of. He's like, so, whatever her name is saved me. Sometimes I wonder if she regrets it, but here I am, or whatever. And that's it.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. It's a wild movie.
That's crazy.
So like I said, those are the broad strokes. I want to tell you about some of the bad stuff he does.
Yeah.
This kid is very bad.
Awesome.
So where the cracks start to come in, there's some warning signs, first of all, but it's really just kind of like meta warning signs. Like, you know what this movie is about, so you're going to know he's a bad kid. And they're also kind of meta because, like I said, I don't feel like Macaulay Culkin comes across as like a villain, but you know what it's supposed to be. So when Elijah Wood gets there the first night, they're eating lobsters. And Macaulay Culkin shows him how to like crack a lobster, and then he like is fake stabbing it, but it's like a joke, like where he's laughing or whatever, but you're like, oh, this kid likes it. He kicks Elijah Wood under the table, and Elijah Wood kicks him back, and then I feel like Macaulay is a little bit like, oh, an adversary. Like I can't bully you. Yeah. Game recognized game. We can do this here. But you know that he's not just being playful. You know there's a hint of aggression in there. There is a dog that chases them when they're in town, like a super aggressive, like teeth and gums bared dog. And they run across this bridge and they're able to like slam this gate shut for the dog or whatever. And it's like barking and like very scary. And Macaulay Culkin gets back in its face and is like, rah, rah, rah.
Oh, God.
And then he's like, I love that dog.
What?
And maybe it's a kindred spirit.
He just enjoys the crazy
challenge?
rabidness of
right. He has a weird like crossbow thing that he's fashioned himself. That's one of the things that's in the shed, and it shoots like screws and nuts and stuff.
What?
That you just find. It doesn't have like bullets, but it has like screws.
That is some like Kevin McAllister stuff to make.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. And he says he's gonna give a kitty cat a scare. And Elijah Wood is like along for that. He's not like, yeah, but he's like, okay. And so he like shoots a screw like at a cat, and it hits like right above a tree, like in a tree right above the cat. And Elijah Wood's like, whew, that was close, because he just thought it'd be fun to give the cat a scare. And Macaulay is like, yeah, the sight's not done on this thing yet, because he like meant to get the cat.
They couldn't commit to him shooting a cat with his screw gun. Oh,
he shoots a dog.
He
with
does?
a screw gun. Now again, I was a little zoned out. I don't know if it was that aggressive dog. I feel no.
I don't know if I was awake or asleep. I might have been outside.
Unclear.
I don't know.
I might have been in my room.
Could have been at the store.
Yeah. I don't think it was that aggressive dog, but because like that dog would come after them, I feel like if it saw them. But it'd be kind of weird to have two dogs in here. But I'm not sure.
Okay.
But he does shoot a dog and kill the dog with the crossbow. You don't see it. And he and Elijah Wood put it in like a burlap sack
What?
and bring it into this cemetery where there's a well. And they throw it down into the cemetery. Now, this is the point where Elijah Wood is like, this kid's like not right.
And now he's also been like co-opted into helping him cover up
Yes.
his shenanigans.
More than once. That's the first time. The second time, William, I almost pooped my bald pants at what I saw. So he asks him, Macaulay asks Elijah Wood if he wants to see something that is amazing. Or no, he says, okay, he says if he doesn't want to see something cool or whatever. He brings him into the shack. There is a paper mache man in there.
What do you mean?
A paper mache man.
Okay.
It looks like Callistra that we talked
my
about.
God.
Well, not really. It's more lumpy paper mache, but it basically looks like the mask that Macaulay Culkin had on when he first came in, but he turned it into a whole person who's wearing like clothes and stuff, and he says, "This is Mr. Highway."
What?
I
He's
was like,
making a man?
he made a man, and he's like, "What are you gonna do with him?"
I'm going to put him in the window and make him dance to this guy's been talking about I wonder who could be, because they know I'm the heaviest cat. And Harry and Marv are going to drive past and be like, they're home. Cheese it, Marv. Get out of here, you nose little pervert, or I'm going to slap you silly.
Those movies are so good. They're so funny. But no, a full paper mache man. They like zoom in on his face. And he's wearing like a fishing hat. And I was like, what is this now? What am I looking at? His name is Mr. Highway. So Elijah is like, what are you doing with this? And he's like, something amazing. You in? And Elijah's like, yeah, sure. So they start walking with Mr. Highway, who's like a huge person-shaped thing, until they are at an overpass for a highway. Now, Elijah, I know you're young, but like, what do you think is going to happen
together.
here?
Yeah.
Get it together. You know what's going to go down here. So obviously, Macaulay Culkin throws Mr. Highway off of the overpass onto like the turnpike below and causes like a massive pileup of cars.
Because it looks like a man jumped.
Yes, exactly.
Which
very scary.
Bam Margera would later do in CKY. They would fill a shirt and pants with newspapers and throw
Correct.
it off a bridge onto cars.
So this part was cut out from the movie when it was released in Great Britain because someone had done that.
Oh.
And they didn't want to encourage like more or something like that. And like people had died and stuff. Not good.
We have a Mr. Autobahn here. Cannot shows his...
Wait, what? Why are you doing that accent for Great Britain?
I couldn't think of what they call a freeway in Great Britain.
But why is this German or something? The Autobahn here.
Because at least Autobahn's closer to highway.
Yeah, but if it's in Britain, why aren't you doing a British accent?
Because I don't know what they call a highway in Britain. I needed a funny word.
This isn't an entirely different country
Yeah.
then. Okay. So
What do they call a highway?
that's a long walk.
Here, I'll give you a great joke. What do they call a highway in Britain?
I don't know.
Well, then I can't give you the joke. What do you want from me? I did the best I could.
Oh my God. So at that point, now Elijah, if the dog wasn't enough, Mr. Highway has thrown it over. So this is when they become adversaries or whatever, and he's like, I'm not having you.
Not after what he did to Mr. Highway.
Look up Mr. Highway.
I want to see it, yeah.
So yeah, that starts it. And so that's why Macaulay is kind of pissed and messing with him now and being like, oh, what if I kill my sister? What do you think
Right.
about that? So yeah, he's just a little crap, this kid.
Yeah.
And messing with his mom kind of the same way that Rhoda would mess with her mom and kind of like want to make her cry and stuff and make her upset and then like play a nice kid act. At one point, he says to his mom that Elijah Wood wants to take Richard's room. It's basically just because he wants to bring up Richard and like make his mom cry. Like his mom gets upset and is like, excuse me. And you can see that he's like,
He's relishing.
and then he like follows her to the room, is like, I'm sorry, mommy, don't cry or whatever. He's
I wanted
a little,
to see your sorrow.
yeah, he's a little monster. That is
Googled-
Mr. Highway.
I googled the good son, Mr. Highway.
Mm-hmm.
I strongly recommend you all look this up.
Yes.
It is alarming.
It is absolutely scary.
Macaulay Culkin's makeshift man is a very comfortable looking individual.
It's horrible.
Oh my God, if you threw that off a bridge at me, I might just die.
Yeah, not even the car pileup, you would just die. So that's basically the plot and the standout things from it that I wanted to really hit.
Yeah.
I want to point out some tropes and see if they popped up in the bad seed as well. Okay, he innocently hums songs a couple of times, like a little kid humming cute songs. Like he's walking around his room doing like Camptown races.
Okay.
Is there any point where the bad seed is just like,
You know, kind of. I don't know if she's literally humming, but you do see her like having like a little tea party
yeah,
while Leroy comes
similar,
up being
yeah.
a little creep. She also again plays Claire de Lune on the piano a lot.
but it
which
sounds
is
like
a
she's
musical.
doing that in a cuckoo way, right?
A little
She
bit.
like
She's doing
stirring it up.
She's doing it almost in like a very like ahead of her time savant, very good at piano.
Yeah.
Kid kind of thing. So
Okay. So them doing music-y stuff that's supposed to be
Music-y
like
stuff.
cute and little kitty, but you're like,
Yes.
yikes, scary.
right.
It sounds like they both did some stuff to their mom with being like, I love you, mommy,
Yeah.
and her being like, so pretty, mom.
Manipulation.
Yep. Is there any cruelty to animals?
Ooh, that's an interesting one. I don't think there were any animals in the bad seed at all.
Okay.
There's
All
a
right.
bird. She does imply that Aunt Monica has a bird. She goes, Aunt Monica said she'll give me her bird when she dies. And her
Uh-oh.
dad goes, well, you don't have to worry about that. Aunt Monica's not going to die for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And Rhoda's next thing she says is, how long do birds live? Which is like,
So is it supposed to be at all like she's thinking about killing Aunt Monica so she can get the bird?
well, because she can't afford that. If she wants that bird, she can't
That's what
afford
I'm
for the
saying.
bird to die before Aunt Monica.
That's what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
is it at all that kind of thing where it's like, do I have to kill this lady so I can make sure I get my bird?
like thinking out loud, but her
Yeah.
dad doesn't get it. Fool.
What a dummy.
He's been away all this time.
And so I was also thinking about the McDonald's triad,
Ah.
which is that thing that's measuring like the odds of little kids growing up to be a serial killer.
Yeah.
And only one is present in The Good Son, which is cruelty to animals. The other two that are in the triad are like later bedwetting than is average and a preoccupation with fire.
Well, there's definitely fire in the bad seed.
That's right. All right, so they each have one covered.
They each have one color. And then once again, Fuller from Home Alone.
Has
He
yes,
wets the beds.
the triad.
Yeah, the triad.
We got to keep the three of them away from each other.
Rhoda?
Because if they were to join forces,
United.
serial killer.
They could rule the world.
They really could.
Macaulay Culkin, Rhoda, and
Fuller.
Fuller. That's sicko.
Oh, God. A few bits and bobs that I had. At one point, the two of them are running on train tracks, and I wonder if it was a little bit of a Stand By Me homage.
Ah, yeah.
I've still never seen that.
Oh, it's
but
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The dad's name in this is Wallace. And I just want to say, you don't see a lot of Wallaces in movies. I can't think of another Wallace
I
character.
agree.
Also, while they're rolling around that cliff, Macaulay knees Elijah Wood in the nuts.
Whoa.
And I just thought that was like a brutal move for little kids. I mean, they're not that little, but I don't know. It was just kind of unexpectedly brutal.
Unless
I was like,
Elijah's
"Jeez."
like, joke's on you, Macaulay. They haven't descended yet.
Thank you for
Hi-ya!
reminding me. Thank you for reminding me. There is some, it's not
The
a,
moment of reversal.
yes. Okay, there is something in here that I thought was very funny. It's kind of similar to that, where I feel like Elijah Wood, like, you don't really want to show that much vulnerability with a bully, I feel. And Elijah Wood in this really shows his vulnerability in a way where I'm like, don't say that. He's only going to use that. So at one point, Macaulay is like, well, like, what do you care about moms? Your mother is dead or whatever. And Elijah Wood is like, yeah, well, actually, my mom, when she died, said she would never leave me and that she would always be with me. And so I think there's a piece of my mom in your mom. So actually, my mom is around right now.
Oh.
But then
Yeah.
later on, Macaulay Culkin is saying stuff to Elijah Wood about how he might kill his mom. And he's like, you can't do that. It's your mother. And he's like, I thought this is your mom now. So what does it even matter?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, boy.
Yeah. Just gave him ammunition.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, we've talked about this before also, where it's terrifying that somebody's coming after you who you can't stop from targeting you.
yeah.
You know, and like, I mean, honestly, I guess the quote that you cited before as not clicking with Macaulay Culkin of like, once you realize you can do anything, nobody can stop you.
Honestly, that me picking that line is almost arbitrary. It was just that was something where I guess you could see that meaning a good thing.
Right.
And just like the music cues, I don't even remember there's music under that part, but just like it's meant to be evil, but he's kind of just saying it.
Sure. But the purpose of it really is to be like, I will never stop doing what I'm doing, and you can't reason with me.
Yeah,
I
can.
do
You
what
can
I
fly.
want.
You can do anything that you want. Become
Oh, and
kind of
ironically,
superhuman.
he falls.
He does. That's
Falls.
true.
Although it would be pretty awesome if she
If
let
he
go.
flew?
If she
Yeah.
let go of Macaulay and he goes, ah,
I told you.
and then pauses.
Yeah.
Ha!
Rises like
You've
Voldemort.
tried to stop me, mother.
Yeah.
It blasts off into outer space. It's like it could be anywhere now.
Yeah, we have no idea.
I don't know.
So last thing I want to say about it is something from the IMDb trivia that is kind of about that. So there really is a cliff in that area that's super high, but they built an artificial cliff on top of that for like a little safety. I don't totally understand how that's for safety because that just means you're even higher up in the air. But fine, there's obviously a reason that I'm just not aware of. Maybe it was inland on the, I don't know, whatever.
It had to have been pulled in a little bit to create a place to land
Exactly.
for safety.
Yeah, but it still was like a pretty big drop.
Yeah.
And they really had Macaulay Culkin do that 30-foot drop, and they bribed him with something that he wanted. I can't remember what it was. Like
The Talk
like a
Boy.
Game Boy or something.
That's how we
Yeah.
got the Talk Boy in Home Alone 2.
I know. Actually, there is a fun bit of trivia, not about the Talk Boy, but about a Game Boy, kind of.
Okay.
When Elijah was playing a Game Boy on their way to go to Macaulay's house, and his dad says, well, if you ever get tired of bombing the universe, like blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And in The Shining, the movie, after Danny finishes playing a video game, his father, Jack Nicholson, asks him, did you get tired of bombing the universe?
Ah, yes.
This was probably a little thing.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
That's pretty
yeah.
cool. Mm-hmm. Interesting. So did you? This was fun to talk about. Did you like this at all? You said it was weak,
Yes.
but did you get any enjoyment out of it?
It was fine.
It's fine?
It was fine. I know I
It's fun
zoned
to
out.
talk about. It's
It
fun
was
to
super
hear
fun
about.
to talk
for sure.
about.
Yeah.
Totally. I zoned, like I said, I zoned out a little bit sometimes
Yeah.
because it wasn't. Ryan was like half watching it with me, and he was like, "This is really dull for a horror movie."
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, it's just very flat. Like Macaulay Culkin really doesn't bring like the fun, evil little kid energy you want him to. I feel like me describing it makes it sound a little bit more punchy than it feels
Yeah.
in the moment.
That's interesting.
It's just very.
When
It's not great.
I have a question. I don't know if there's an answer to this.
Mm-hmm.
You were describing his mom finding the shed and finding
Yeah.
the rubber ducky. You said that he walks in with something in his arms.
I don't remember what it was. I don't think it was anything of
It
consequence.
was just he's doing stuff.
Yeah,
He's
he just
bringing
hangs out
something
there.
in.
Yeah, it wasn't anything major. I mean, that shed was definitely like his hangout area.
Yeah.
But then also, it seems implied that that well that's in the cemetery is kind of like his trophy place or something.
Right.
Which is weird
The
because
shed
you
and
can't.
the well. He's got
You
both.
can't enjoy the things in the well. So actually, I didn't mention it when he wrestles with his mom. It's like, give me the ducky. He runs to the cemetery and throws the ducky in the well,
Oh.
and that's also where the dead dog is. So I don't know if it's like, if I can't have this, no one can kind of thing with the ducky. It doesn't really make sense. It seemed like he was hiding the dead dog in the well.
Evidence that
I don't know.
Evidence that is starting
Yeah,
to expose
I
me
didn't think
goes
about
in
that.
there.
Yeah, maybe an evidence thing.
Right.
That's true. I was thinking of it more as
The
the
shed
duck, because the duck was definitely a trophy for
it was
him
meant to be a trophy.
in the shed,
It was
but I
meant
guess
to be
he
private enjoyment.
had to give up.
Once it was exposed,
Yeah.
it has to be discarded.
Yeah, I guess that's what it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So yeah, I mean it's okay. I also had to rent it on Amazon. It wasn't for free on there. You know, it was okay. I can't say like really like recommend it, but I would say if you remember it from when you were younger, which I think a lot of people do, it would probably be fun for you to revisit. But I would say going in cold, I can't say like spend $5 on The Good Son.
Okay, fair enough.
Whatever.
So Bad Seed, yes. Good Son, no.
Yeah, yeah.
Now I did look up Mr. Highway and the UK, the banning of him in the UK, and it turns out that part of the reason why is because they, like you said, people were doing it over there with Mr. Motorway.
Really?
They had Mr. Motorway. They would throw him onto the motorway.
What the hell? That's so messed up.
I just looked it up to fix the joke from before. Highways there are called motorways.
Oh, but did they call it Mr. Motorway?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought for a sec that was like a thing.
No, I pranked
Okay.
you. What I
You
did Google.
pranked me.
What I did
No,
Google.
I pranked you.
What I actually Googled was what are highways called in the UK? Oh, it's motorways.
Stupid.
So in Germany they've got
Autobahn.
Air Autobahn. And in the UK, they have Mr. Motorway.
Yeah.
And then over here, we have Mr. Highway. What is
Your
Mr.?
British accent isn't that strong.
Well,
I only
But I
only
am.
point it out because you do a lot of really good voices and accents. So this isn't me like slamming you down. I feel I'm punching up by saying that.
Okay.
Surprisingly, your British accent isn't that strong.
I could probably do the cartoony, Cockney, Dick Van Dyke-ish, like,
Yeah.
aye, we got Mr.
All right, there
Motorway.
you're right. All right, it is good.
Mr.
All right.
Motorway coming at you.
All right, never mind. It is good.
Pull over your lorries.
All right,
Here
that's
comes
enough.
Mr. Motorway.
All right, open your boot.
Okay. All right, everybody. Well, there you have it.
Yeah, that's
A couple
it.
of really scary kids.
Yeah, these kids they're bad kids.
They're bad kids. Bad
Yeah.
seed and a rough nut.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us, learning about children who murder.
Yes.
Don't
Don't worry, we're gonna make sure Zoe doesn't do that.
I sure hope so. I mean, the part of the theme here is there's no stopping it. I love you, Zoe.
I don't really think that's true though necessarily. I don't
agree.
know.
Yes,
Yeah.
I know. Now, once again, everybody go rent Mommy 2 Mommy's Day.
Right.
We'll be discussing that next for sure, definitely. This is fun. This is like a double
Yeah.
feature. You know?
Yes.
This is like you go to the drive-in.
Yep.
and
There's
you
a
have-
themed
Yeah.
dub feature.
It was pretty fun.
Yeah.
I like that we each watched our movie, so we got to talk about them from like the experience of like seeing them and stuff.
Yeah,
And,
totally.
Anyway, everybody go to gttupod.com from here. You're going to be able to find links to a bunch of stuff there. Number one, all the previous shows we've ever done. If you like hearing us talk about pop culture, guess what? We did the true story behind The Conjuring. We did one even better. We did the true story behind The Conjuring 3
Yep.
like a year or two ago.
It was 2 years ago. I shared the link somewhere recently, I think on Twitter or something. And yeah, it was from 2019.
Is that right? Yeah, we had already basically clocked it. It's Guide to the Unknown, episode 94. The Conjuring 3, question mark. And we covered what the actual movie, The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, which is coming out this week. We covered the actual true story.
Right, because one of our listeners went to a dinner where the real guy who was involved in it told his side of the story.
Yeah, which is wild.
Yes.
So we've got a long history of talking about pop culture here, is what I'm telling you. Go check it out. Find that at gttupod.com. You can also find links to our social media at gttupod on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Links to patreon.com/gttupod, where, as Kristen said, join us as a Netherworld warrior in the $4 or up tier to get access to a bunch of bonus shows as well. And yeah, you know what? You can even find us online.
That's right. I'm at Chillin' Kristen.
I am at The Myth Traveler.
Yep, and Will's doing a really cool series of sharing his horror knickknacks. So definitely follow him.
Yeah, it's fun. I've been showing off some of my horror collection and writing stories about what I think about them, sometimes reviewing them or telling the story of why I have them.
Yeah.
So go check that out. But us, the good eggs here, we gotta go. So we will see you next time for more scary stories here on Guide to the Unknown. But until that time comes, we must travel.
Back to the Netherworld, go we. All right.
All right, we fall off the
Cool.
cliff into the post show.
That's right. How
Yeah.
is everybody?
What's going on, everybody? I saw a lot of people talking in there.
Yeah.
I'm once again hot this week, so if you have any
Yes.
questions or anything, start typing them now.
It's hot.
Yeah. Would you mind
First
moving
thing-
your? I want to be able to see. The
Oh,
chat.
sorry.
It's blocking
The
me.
first thing I saw was, first of all, Deb, hi. I don't know if I've ever seen, I don't know if, have you ever been to a live thing? I don't remember.
I
But
think so.
thank you for saying you like my dress. It's from Target. It's there right now. So if anybody's interested in it, you can go get it. And I got it in 3 colors.
And I got all my clothes the same place I get all my groceries, Spencer Gifts.
That's right.
I only eat candy that I find at Spencer Gifts.
You only eat like candy underwear and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But they're briefs. there's a lot of substance there.
Oh, God. Christy, I hope you had a good move. I know moving is tough stuff.
Oh yeah, big time.
Hey, KB says, I'm the opposite. Yes to the good. Oh, okay. No, I see. I don't know what I thought it meant. But KB enjoyed the bad son, did not care for the bad seed. I mean, the good son.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You didn't like the bad seed.
Switcheroo.
Oh, that's interesting. Black and white.
Yeah.
It's all these people from the Stone Age.
Yeah.
Man, I loved it. I will say, here's the thing. We ragged a lot on movies being too long here, and simultaneously I'll watch movies that are like 3-4 hours long and love them. It's just I like the investment ahead of time. It's nice to know you're going to be in and out in an hour and a half.
I prefer.
At a certain point in the bad seed, I was like, we must be getting to the end of this thing. And I hit the button, and there was still 40 minutes to go. I was like an hour 20 in.
Yeah, you're like,
like,
how is this
Really?
possible?
But
yeah.
that was the one nit because I was enjoying everything I was getting. I was just aware that I was sitting there for a long time. But I really enjoyed it.
Cool. Well, I'm glad you guys enjoyed it.
Deb says my Frasier accent is stronger.
I mean, it's a very practiced Frasier accent, so I can understand why. If it takes, 10,000 hours to become an expert about something.
I've got maybe, I don't know, 50
Yeah.
hours of practice as Frasier.
Right. So
I have professionally been Frasier. I'm one of only a few people.
That's true.
I'm part of a small fraternity of people who have made money from being called Frasier.
That's amazing. Oh God.
All right. Okay. Time to
Well,
go.
hope everybody enjoyed it.
Yeah, I hope you had fun, everybody.
Yeah.
Kat
really likes a tight 9D. They can feel it on their bones. You and me both.
I know. I can sort of like sense it.
Mm-hmm. It feels good. It's snappy. It's contained.
Yep.
I just like it. I like a tight 90.
Yep.
I also saw down there Andrea referenced the Daniel Stern episode of the show.
Oh my God, Daniel Stern and Brownies.
It's a great episode of Guide to the Unknown.
It really is. Honestly,
if anybody hasn't heard it.
If you love Macaulay Culkin and you need more Home Alone wheelhouse from Guide to the Unknown, let me see. Guide to the Unknown.
Definitely one of my all-time favorites.
Stern and Brownies. Let's see. Episode 28.
28. All right.
Go download it now. You can have another double feature here by
That's
doing the Macaulay
true.
Culkin heavy episode.
That's
and then Daniel
true.
Stern. I was watching a bunch of Macaulay Culkin today because he guested on Red Letter Media's
Yep.
Best of the Worst a bunch.
I know. I did a search because I was wondering if maybe, because it's not really the worst, but I was
Yeah.
like, I wonder if maybe there's a Best of the Worst about the Good Son. But no.
No, they never watched his stuff.
Yeah.
They did watch Home Alone 4 with him.
Oh.
Kristen, it is so funny. French Stewart
I
plays
haven't
Marv.
seen that one. Oh, I know.
Kristen, it's so goddamn funny.
I will.
Okay,
I will.
I'll send it.
Also,
Look it up yourself.
Macaulay Culkin is about to head back into horror because he's in the next season of American Horror Story.
That's right.
It's his first horror project since The Good Son.
I know. So if you were Macaulay Culkin, perk up because he's back.
That's right,
in a
baby.
big way.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. I think that's enough of us.
Yep.
Hope you had a good time.
Yeah.
I know I did.
I sure did. I
sure
had a great
did.
time.
All right, everybody. We will definitely see you somewhere else. I really would like to shoot. Oh, you know what? Give me some cover art faces real quick. Let me get rid of this post-show banner just so it's not in the way. Shoot a scream face right
Okay.
into the camera.
I
I'm gonna
feel
do
like
it too.
I'm like too self-conscious.
I know.
You know what I mean? But I'll
'Cause you're,
try.
you're practicing. I
Talking
know.
about it too much. Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Ah!
And then I think
Did I do it right?
one last one should
Okay.
work. I just hope it doesn't crash my system.
What? What do you mean?
I just hope it doesn't crash the stream. Ready?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right.
Let's try it. Let's make
All right.
this one good.
Okay.
One for the road.
All
Ready?
right.
1, 2, 3.
Ah!